Let me ask you something. What if the only thing standing between you and a radically better life was just 7 days? I know, it sounds like clickbait, but what I'm about to tell you actually happened. 1 week, 7 habits, 0 magic tricks. And no, this isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. just to post it on Instagram. It's about building a version of yourself that you barely recognize, in the best possible way. And it started with one painfully simple, wildly uncomfortable shift. Habit 1. Waking up early. I used to think early risers were born that way, genetic freaks who actually enjoyed seeing the sun before Starbucks opened. That wasn't me. My mornings used to start in chaos, snoozed alarms, skipped breakfast, and the constant feeling of being 15 minutes behind life. But something changed when I stopped treating my mornings like an accident and started owning them. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. Brutal. That's the only word that fits. The first few mornings, I stared at the ceiling, questioning every life decision I'd ever made. But then, something shifted. By day 3, I noticed the quiet, the stillness, the absence of noise and notifications. For once, I wasn't reacting. I was initiating. And that made all the difference. With those early hours, I wasn't just gaining time, I was gaining presence. I used those mornings to stretch lightly, breathe deeply, and set clear intentions. Not some overly complicated ritual, just a few minutes of solitude, stillness, and structure. I remember one morning, watching the sun rise from my apartment window, the sky melting into gold, the world waking up gently. In that moment, I wasn't just awake, I was alive. Waking up early didn't magically make me successful, but it gave me space to think, to plan, to be present. And in a world that constantly demands your attention, that's priceless. If you've always said, I'm just not a morning person, maybe it's not your personality. Maybe it's just your pattern. And patterns, those can be rewritten. Start by waking just 15 minutes earlier. No pressure, no perfection, just you. Meeting your day on purpose. Habit 2. Daily exercise. Let me be straight with you. I used to avoid exercise like it owed me money. I told myself I was too tired, too busy, too not in the mood. But deep down, I wasn't avoiding the workout. I was avoiding the discomfort, because movement doesn't just challenge your body, it challenges your excuses. So I made a deal with myself. 20 minutes, every day, no matter what. Not to punish myself, not to chase some unrealistic body goal, just to move, to feel my lungs expand, my muscles wake up, my mind clear. At first, it was rough. The soreness, the resistance, the mental whining, all of it showed up. But so did the payoff. By day 4, I wasn't dragging myself through the day. I was gliding. My energy was different, my mood lighter, my thoughts clearer. One morning, I went for a jog. Not a long one, just around the block. But something happened on that run. The silence, the rhythm of my breath, the cool morning air. It unlocked something. It was like I'd plugged back into myself. And then there was yoga. I'd always thought it was too slow, too woo-woo for me. But it ended up being one of the most powerful things I've ever done for my body and mind. It taught me to be present, to listen, to let go. That's what movement does when it becomes consistent. It stops being a task and starts being a gift. Here's the truth. You don't need a gym. You don't need six-pack goals. You just need to move, to remind yourself that your body was built to participate in your life, not just survive it. Start small, walk, stretch, dance in your living room. Just move, and do it for you. Habit 3. Journaling. This one surprised me the most. I used to think journaling was for poets or people with too much time on their hands. What I didn't realize was I was carrying around thoughts and emotions like unpaid bills, and journaling was how I finally cashed them in. 10 minutes a night. That's all I committed to. No rules, no pressure, just me, a notebook, and whatever needed to be said that day. At first, it felt awkward, like talking to a stranger who knew everything about me. But with each entry, I peeled back a layer. One night, I wrote about a rough day at work. I didn't just vent, I unpacked it. Why it upset me, what I could have done differently. And for the first time in a long time, I felt clarity instead of chaos. I started noticing patterns, my triggers, my habits, my progress. And suddenly, I wasn't just living my life, I was understanding it. One of the most powerful shifts came when I added a simple practice: gratitude. 3 things I was grateful for every night. Some days it was big. I got the job. Other days it was small. My coffee was perfect this morning, but it didn't matter, because gratitude isn't about what you have. It's about what you see. And the more I wrote, the more I saw the good, even on the hard days. Journaling became my reset button, a safe space where I could be messy, honest, and real, without judgment. You don't need to be a writer, you just need to be willing to meet yourself on the page. No filters, no audience, just you, and the truth that's been waiting to be heard. Habit 4. Mindful eating. Before this habit, I didn't eat. I inhaled. Most meals were consumed in front of a screen, on the go, or while replying to emails. Food wasn't nourishment. It was background noise. And honestly, I didn't even realize how disconnected I'd become until I tried doing the one thing we all take for granted: pay attention while eating. So I made a simple change. No phones, no laptop, no distractions. Just me and the food on my plate. And I'll be real. It felt weird at first. Quiet. Still. Almost awkward. But then something beautiful happened. I noticed the taste of food again. The crunch of fresh veggies. The warmth of soup. The sweetness of honey. It was like my senses had been on mute. And someone turned the volume back up. Eating slowly also gave my body time to speak. I started recognizing when I was actually full, instead of stuffing myself past comfort just because the food was there. And here's what blew my mind. I didn't need to change what I ate as much as how I ate. The more mindful I was, the more satisfied I felt, even with smaller portions. One morning, I had oatmeal, something I'd eaten 1,000 times before. But that day, I tasted it. I mean, really tasted it. The creamy texture, the cinnamon, the drizzle of honey. That bowl wasn't just breakfast, it was a moment of peace. I also started noticing emotional eating patterns. Was I really hungry? Or just bored? Did I want food? Or comfort? One night, I reached for dessert out of habit, but I paused, asked myself what I was really craving. Turned out it wasn't sugar, it was rest, so I made tea instead. And that tiny decision, it felt like freedom. Mindful eating isn't about dieting, it's about presence. It's about rebuilding trust with your body and respecting it enough to actually listen. Start with 1 meal a day. Sit down, breathe, taste. Let your food be more than fuel. Let it be a connection. Habit 5. Limiting screen time. This one hit harder than I expected because we all think we're in control of our screen time until we try to limit it. I set a rule: 1 hour of non-work screen time per day. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, all had to fit inside that window. At first, it felt like cutting off oxygen. I kept reaching for my phone like a reflex. Moments of boredom felt unbearable. But what I didn't expect was what came next. Space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to live. Suddenly, I had hours I didn't even know existed. I picked up books I hadn't touched in years, tried new recipes, took walks without headphones, sat in silence without panic. I even found myself reconnecting with hobbies I'd forgotten: sketching, journaling, cooking slowly, calling friends instead of texting. One evening, instead of binging another show, I sat outside on the porch and just watched the world move. No scrolling, no stimulation, just presence. And the difference in my sleep, unreal. No more blue light before bed, no more midnight rabbit holes, just calm. I started falling asleep easier and waking up actually rested. But the biggest shift? My mind got quieter. Without constant digital noise, my thoughts stopped racing. I stopped comparing, stopped absorbing everyone else's life, and started fully living my own. Here's the truth. Screens aren't evil, but if we're not careful, they steal our most valuable asset, attention. And attention is how you shape your reality. So try this. Subtract 1 hour of screen time this week. Fill that hour with you. Something real, something quiet, something that reminds you you're still here and this life is still yours. Habit 6. Digital detox before bed. You've heard it before. Don't bring your phone to bed. But let me tell you something. The night I actually left my phone outside my bedroom was the night my brain finally exhaled. Up until then, I thought scrolling at night helped me wind down. But it didn't. It numbed me. Then it overstimulated me. Then it left me restless. So I made a rule. 1 hour before bed, no screens. I replaced it with a wind-down routine. Dim lights, a physical book, gentle music, sometimes journaling, sometimes just breathing. And the results were undeniable. My mind got still. My body stopped bracing. Sleep came easier, and it was deeper. But beyond the physical rest, something else happened. I reconnected with the quiet part of me, the one that doesn't need notifications to feel important or headlines to feel informed. I realized how much noise I'd been carrying to bed, and when I let it go, I started waking up differently, clearer, calmer, more me. Sleep isn't just a recharge, it's a reset. And you can't reset if you're dragging the chaos of the day into the most sacred part of your night. Try this for 1 week. No phone 60 minutes before sleep. Let your brain remember what it feels like to close, not crash. Habit 7, intentional goal setting, daily. This one changed my momentum fast. Every night before bed, I wrote down one goal for the next day. Not a to-do list, not a 5-year plan, just one intentional target. Something simple, clear, achievable. It could be, call mom, finish the proposal, go for a 20-minute walk. And what happened? I woke up with direction. Instead of reacting to whatever the day threw at me, I had purpose, focus, alignment. There's something powerful about waking up knowing exactly what matters most today. It builds trust in yourself. It creates wins, and wins create momentum. One morning, my goal was just to show up to the gym, not crush a workout. I went, I moved, I left proud, and that pride carried me through the day. The next night, a slightly bigger goal. That's how you stack confidence, not with massive leaps, but small promises kept. And here's the best part. You don't need a fancy planner, just a pen, a notebook, and 5 minutes of honesty. What would make tomorrow feel successful? Write that down tonight, then go live it. So, 1 week, 7 habits. No magic, no overnight transformation, just consistent, intentional action, 1 day at a time. And that's the real secret. Change doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing something, and doing it well. You don't have to become a brand new person. You just have to stop abandoning the one you already are. Pick one habit, start today, build momentum, and let the rest unfold. Because when you move with purpose, when your actions align with your values, you stop chasing the life you want and start creating it. You've got 7 days and a decision to make. So tell me, which habit will you start today?